When the first sharp pain struck his chest, Ayaan froze in the middle of the crowded street as if the world had suddenly stopped moving. Noise blurred into a single, distant hum. Lights around him smeared into streaks. The air felt heavy, too heavy for his lungs to lift. For a terrifying moment, he thought the worst was happening, and the future he kept postponing would disappear before he ever lived it. It lasted only a few seconds, but it shook him more deeply than anything had in years. And in that frozen moment, surrounded by strangers, honking motorcycles, and spinning lights, Ayaan realized something brutally simple. He had spent years ignoring his health, and now his body was demanding payment. Push pin if you believe in kindness, second chances, and stories that remind us to take care of ourselves. Make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Ayaan was only 25, but life had already pushed him into a corner. He worked late nights in a small design studio, surviving on energy drinks, instant noodles, and stress. His mother often reminded him to take breaks, drink water, and stop skipping breakfast, but he always brushed it off with the same line, "I'm young. I'm fine." But he wasn't fine. He hadn't been for a long time. The chest pain faded, but the fear didn't. He made his way home slowly, each step reminding him that he had taken his body for granted. That night, he lay awake staring at the ceiling, replaying the moment over and over. What scared him wasn't the pain, it was the realization that he had never made space in his life for health, peace, or balance. He had rushed through days like they were obstacles and ignored every sign that something wasn't right. He remembered his childhood, when life felt slower and brighter. His father used to take him for morning walks by the river, pointing out how sunlight shimmered on the water. His mother cooked balanced meals, and the house seemed full of warmth and safety. But after his father passed away when he was 15, those habits disappeared. Grief changed everything. Ayaan grew quieter, lonelier, and more careless with himself. He learned to survive, but he never learned to live. The next morning, the mirror showed him someone he barely recognized, tired eyes, dull skin, and a heaviness that went beyond physical exhaustion. That was the morning he made a promise. Not a dramatic, overnight transformation, but a quiet vow whispered to his own reflection, "I will take care of you." At first, he didn't know where to begin. The internet overwhelmed him with advice, routines, and perfect influencers drinking green smoothies under perfect lighting. Ayaan didn't want perfection. He wanted honesty, sustainability, and a life he could actually live without burning out. So he decided to start small, almost invisible changes that gently reminded his body that he hadn't abandoned it. He began with water. A simple habit, almost too simple, but he realized he spent entire days dehydrated. He set reminders, filled a reusable bottle, and made himself sip slowly throughout the day. Within a week, he felt slightly more awake. His headaches lessened. He didn't feel as sluggish after lunch. It wasn't magic, it was maintenance, something he had forgotten humans need as much as machines. Then he added morning sunlight. Just 5 minutes. He stepped onto the small balcony of his apartment before work and let the warm rays spill over his face. Some mornings were cloudy, others bright, but the ritual stayed the same. It grounded him. It reminded him the world was larger than his stress. He didn't jump into a harsh gym routine. Instead, he began walking. Slow, steady, intentional. He walked after meals, during breaks, or on quiet evenings. With each step, the weight on his chest felt lighter, not physically yet, but emotionally. Each walk felt like a conversation with himself, a gentle return to someone he had lost along the way. But change never comes without resistance. His job remained demanding. His boss still expected late-night submissions. His friends teased him for turning healthy. Some days he wanted to give up and return to convenience foods and sleepless nights. Old habits whispered temptations, promising ease. One Thursday evening, after a stressful day, he nearly broke his routine. He sat in front of his laptop late at night, feeling overwhelmed. Work piled around him. His stomach growled. His hand reached for his phone to order greasy fast food. But just then, he noticed a sticky note he had written earlier on his desk. Choose the life you want, not the one you settled for. He paused. The message felt like it came from a braver version of himself. Slowly, he put the phone down, went to the kitchen, and made a simple home-cooked meal. It wasn't perfect, slightly burnt on one side, unevenly seasoned, but it was made with intention. It tasted like effort, like care. Weeks passed, and small changes created quiet transformations. His skin looked healthier. His energy returned. His heart felt lighter. He could think more clearly. His coworkers noticed. Even his mother's voice softened when she saw him on video call, relief replacing worry. But habits became truly powerful when Ayaan stopped doing them for fear of sickness and started doing them for love of life. He realized disease prevention wasn't about avoiding doom, it was about embracing possibility. Healthy living wasn't a prison, it was freedom. It gave him mornings without fatigue, workdays without chaos, and nights without fear. One day, he visited the riverside where he used to walk with his father. Years had passed since he last stood there. The water still shimmered. The breeze still held that familiar softness. Standing in that place, Ayaan felt a sudden rush of emotions. He imagined his father beside him, smiling, proud that his son was finally caring for himself again. The walk that followed wasn't just exercise, it was healing. As months passed, Ayaan built a blueprint that truly worked for him. A sustainable guide to disease prevention and healthy living. He filled half his plate with vegetables and fruits, not because of strict rules but because they made him feel alive. He slept earlier, letting his body reset. He practiced slow breathing when anxiety tightened his chest. He spent time with people who nourished his heart instead of draining it. He learned to pause instead of rushing. He learned to listen to his body instead of ignoring it. He learned to live. But the real turning point came unexpectedly. One afternoon, while walking home, he passed a man sitting on the curb looking pale, exhausted, and lost, just like Ayaan had looked months ago. For a moment, Ayaan saw his old self in that stranger. Without thinking, he approached and asked if he needed help. The man nodded weakly and admitted he hadn't eaten all day. Ayaan guided him to a nearby cafe and bought him a warm meal. The man's eyes filled with gratitude, and in that moment, something deep inside Ayaan shifted. He realized his journey toward health wasn't just about saving himself. It was about understanding pain, compassion, and the invisible battles people fight daily. Helping the stranger didn't just give the man strength, it gave Ayaan purpose. Healthy living wasn't just about the body. It was about the heart, the mind, the soul, and the connections that make life meaningful. And slowly, life began to bloom. Ayaan found balance. He learned that disease prevention wasn't a punishment, it was a gift. Every step, every glass of water, every mindful meal was an act of self-respect. And through that respect, he rebuilt a life that felt whole. His transformation wasn't dramatic. No overnight success. No miraculous glow-up. Just consistent, gentle steps that stitched his life back together one day at a time. His journey became a quiet reminder to everyone around him that health isn't something we chase when we're older, it's something we build each day, even in small ways. Now, whenever Ayaan feels the breeze during his walks, he remembers the boy he used to be, the man who almost collapsed on a busy street, and the version of himself who chose to fight for a healthier life. He knows there will always be challenges, but his blueprint, simple, real, and human, will guide him forward. Push pin if this story touched your heart, please like, comment, and share. Your support helps more people see inspiring stories like this. Speech balloon before the ending, here's a special request. Comment below which part of Ayaan's journey felt the closest to your own life. As the sun sets behind him on his evening walks now, Ayaan feels something he once thought was impossible, peace. He breathes deeply, smiles softly, and steps forward with a calm certainty. He is no longer surviving. He is living.